the final separation of sheep and goats. One day, the heavens will open, and the Son of Man will sit upon his glorious throne. Before him, all nations will gather, not to argue or defend, but to be separated. Like a shepherd divides the sheep from the goats, the king will draw the line that no one can cross. On that day, titles, wealth, and religion will mean nothing. Only the truth of the heart will remain. To the right, those who loved, obeyed, and followed his voice. To the left, those who claimed his name but never lived his ways. No disguise will stand before his light. No excuse will change his verdict. For the eyes of the king see beyond appearances, they see the soul. Then he will speak. Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you. And to others, depart from me, for I never knew you. That day will be final, no appeal, no second chance. But today, his voice still calls. The shepherd still seeks his sheep among the noise of this world. So before that moment comes, ask your heart, when the king divides the nations, where will you stand? Number 1, the scene of the final judgment. The day will come when silence fills the universe. The stars will dim, the heavens will roll back like a scroll, and before all creation will stand the great white throne. Upon it, the Son of Man, crowned in fire and glory. Every nation, tribe, and tongue will gather before him. No one will be hidden. The proud and the poor, the rulers and the forgotten, all will stand equal under his gaze. The books will be opened, every word spoken, every thought hidden, every deed done will rise to light. Angels will fill the skies, awaiting the king's command. The weight of eternity will hang in the air as the shepherd begins his final work, to separate the sheep from the goats. To the right, those whose hearts were humble, whose lives bore the fruit of mercy and truth. To the left, those who lived for themselves, who heard his voice yet turned away. There will be no confusion, no appeal. The separation will be perfect, for the king does not judge by sight, but by the truth written in every soul. And as heaven watches, the words of justice and mercy will echo across eternity. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them. Number 2, who are the sheep? The sheep are not the perfect, they are the surrendered. They are the ones who, despite weakness and failure, still follow the voice of the shepherd. Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." John 10:27. These are the hearts that love quietly, serve faithfully, and forgive freely. They do not seek attention or reward. Their joy is in obedience. When others turn away, they remain. When others grow cold, they still believe. They are found feeding the hungry, comforting the broken, praying for the lost. Their love is not loud, it is steady, gentle, and real. They see Christ in every face, even in those the world rejects. The sheep walk the narrow road, not because it is easy, but because they trust the one who leads them. They may stumble, but they rise again, for grace is their strength. Their faith is not built on feelings, but on relationship. And when the shepherd calls, they respond without hesitation, not out of fear, but love. They know his voice, because they have walked with him through both the storm and the stillness. In the end, the sheep are those who belong to the shepherd, not because they never wandered, but because they always came home. Number 3, who are the goats? The goats are not the obvious enemies of God. They are the ones who thought they knew him, but never truly followed his voice. They call him Lord, yet live as if he was silent. They stand in the crowd of believers but walk their own path. They are near the altar, but far from his heart. Jesus spoke of them with tears in his voice. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? But I will say to them, I never knew you. Matthew 7:22-23. The goats are those who confuse religion with relationship. They know the verses, but not the author. They perform the rituals, but their hearts remain cold. They speak of love, yet show little compassion. They appear righteous before men, but inside they serve only themselves. They are quick to judge, slow to forgive, eager to be seen, and unwilling to serve. They believe salvation is a title, not a transformation. They follow Jesus when it's convenient, but deny him when it costs something. While the sheep hear and obey the shepherd's voice, the goats hear it and argue. They choose independence over intimacy, pride over surrender. And though they walk among the flock, their hearts graze on the fields of the world. The tragedy of the goats is not ignorance, it is self-deception. They think they are safe because they know his name, yet they have never allowed him to know theirs. When the day of separation comes, they will be shocked, not because God is unjust, but because they never believed his grace required their surrender. They chose comfort over conviction, routine over repentance, appearance over truth. And in that moment when the voice of the shepherd calls, they will realize too late that belief without obedience is not faith, it is illusion. The goats are not condemned because they were unloved, but because they rejected the love that could have changed them. Number 4, the criteria of separation. When the king divides the nations, his judgment will not rest on appearances or titles. He will not ask, "What church did you attend?" or "How much did you give?" He will look deeper, beyond reputation, beyond image, into the secret place of the heart. In Matthew 25:35-36, Jesus reveals the divine standard. "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." These are not random acts of kindness. They are the reflections of a heart transformed by love. The sheep did not serve to earn salvation. They served because salvation had already changed them. Love became their instinct. Compassion became their nature. To them, helping others was not religion. It was recognition. They saw Christ in the hungry, in the broken, in the forgotten. Every act of mercy was a whisper to heaven, "Lord, I see you." But the goats, they passed by. They saw need, but felt nothing. They claimed faith, but lived without love. Their religion was comfortable, but their hearts were untouched. And on that final day, they will ask, "When did we see you, Lord?" Because they never learned to see him in others. The separation, then, is not about theology, but transformation. It is not about how much knowledge you had, but how much love you gave. The true evidence of belonging to the shepherd is not loud faith, but living faith, a love that moves, that gives, that heals. Heaven measures not by words, but by wounds. But by wounds. By the hands that served, the hearts that forgave, the lives that reflected the Lamb. And when the King separates the nations, he will not divide by religion, but by reflection. Those who reflected his heart, and those who did not. Number 5, the reward of the sheep. When the king turns to those on his right hand, his voice will carry both joy and tenderness. The battle is over. The journey is done. The faithful have finished their race. And now, the shepherd welcomes his sheep home. "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." Matthew 25:34. These words are not mere comfort. They are the fulfillment of every promise ever whispered to a believing heart. Every tear shed in secret, every prayer uttered in faith, every act of love unseen by men will be remembered by heaven. The sheep will not stand proudly. They will bow, overwhelmed by grace. they will look at the king and realize that nothing they did could have earned this moment. Salvation was a gift, and yet he calls them blessed. In that kingdom there will be no more fear, no more sorrow, no more night. The Lamb will be their light, and joy will be the air they breathe. The wounds that once bled will now shine like jewels, telling stories of redemption. The shepherd who once walked among them in humility will now reign among them in glory. Those who loved in secret will be honored in the open. Those who forgave in silence will be crowned with peace. And those who endured in faith will be clothed in white, their names forever secure in the book of life. For the sheep, heaven is not a reward for effort, it is the reunion of love. It is the place where every act of mercy finds its echo, and every heartbeat of faith finds its rest. And when they lift their eyes to the King, they will finally understand what grace truly means. That the one who sat in judgment was also the one who died for them. Eternity will begin with a smile, the smile of the shepherd who kept his promise. Where I am, there you will be also. Number 6. The fate of the goats. Then the king will turn to those on his left, and the light that once offered grace will now reveal truth. With sorrow in his voice, not anger, he will say the words that echo through eternity. Depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Matthew 25:41. The goats will not be condemned because they were born wicked, but because they chose to live without compassion, without repentance, without love. They ignored the hungry, mocked the weak, passed by the broken. And in doing so, they turned away from the King himself. Their judgment will be righteous, for every moment of pride, every act of cruelty, every hardened heart has its consequence. Yet even in judgment, God's heart grieves. For he never created hell for mankind. It was prepared for rebellion, not for his children. But those who reject his mercy choose to dwell where mercy cannot enter. The goats lived for themselves, trusting in appearance, not in grace. They called him Lord, but never made him master. They believed in salvation, but not surrender. And when they finally stand before the throne, they will realize too late that heaven is not inherited by words, it is entered through love. In that moment, the silence will be unbearable. The eyes of the King, the same eyes that once looked on them with forgiveness, will now reflect the justice they refused to receive. And as they turn away, the eternal separation will begin. Not as punishment from a cruel God, but as the result of a love rejected. For outside his presence, there is only darkness. Not because he sends them there, but because they have walked away from the only light that ever was. Even now, the voice of mercy still calls. Even now, the shepherd still seeks the lost. But one day that voice will grow silent, and the door of grace will close. Choose now, while you still can. For the fate of the goats is not written by God's wrath, but by man's refusal to be loved. Number 7. The call to choose now. The final separation is not just a prophecy of the future, it is a decision of the present. Even now, as you breathe and listen, your heart is choosing where it will stand. Every word you speak, every act of love or indifference, every response to God's voice is shaping your eternity. The separation begins long before the throne. It begins within the heart. Every time you forgive instead of hate, you move closer to the shepherd. Every time you show mercy, you walk in his steps. But every time you harden your heart, ignore his voice, or turn away from the broken, a quiet distance forms between you and his light. Jesus still calls, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." John 10:27. His voice is not a shout, it is a whisper in the soul, calling you to return before the night falls. The door of mercy is still open, but one day it will close. And when it does, the choice will no longer be yours to make. The time to choose is now, not tomorrow, not someday, not when life settles. The shepherd stands at the gate, his hands still marked by the nails that proved his love. He is not calling you to religion, but to relationship. Not to fear, but to faith. Not to rules, but to love. Do not wait to see the separation. Live today as one of his sheep. Let your life reflect his compassion, your voice echo his truth, your heart mirror his mercy. For the day is coming when the King will rise and the nations will stand before him. And when his eyes search the earth, may he look upon you and say, "This one is mine." The time is short, the choice is clear. The shepherd is still calling. The question remains, will you follow his voice before the final separation begins? Conclusion: the King is coming. The day is coming when the sky will open and the King will return. The trumpet will sound and the heavens will burn with his glory. The shepherd who once came in humility will come again in power, the Lion of Judah, crowned with light. Every eye will see him, every heart will know. The sheep will rejoice, the goats will mourn. Not because God is cruel, but because his justice is pure and his love was refused. Even now, mercy still waits. Every sunrise is another chance to turn back. Every heartbeat is another invitation from heaven. Come home. But soon, the door will close and the separation will be complete. The question is not if he will come, but when, and whether your heart is ready. When that moment comes, may you hear the voice of the shepherd saying, "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you." The King is coming. Let every heart awaken. Let every soul be ready. For eternity is nearer than you think.